those watching and listening around the world. This is Shelor.
And we're here, baby.
Word.
James Chilton is back. New episode. He came back to us. What's up, man?
Like a boomerang, I eventually will come back.
Dude,
if
here.
you throw it hard enough, it will come back. I think that's how it works.
That's what I've heard, man. Now, James, like I said, he's here. He's making us made some Texas ranch water.
Yes, Sarah. This is like Sarah's favorite drink now. So like, it's also one. That's not my favorite, also, but well, tequila. I would say. I think I said that earlier.
Man, we got
my tequila drink. So
got the Teremana Tequila going.
So this is the first time. Oh yeah, hell yeah. All right, here's that.
It's good. It's just tequila and Tico water, right?
Topo Chico, and then it's with the lime, and which is just like the mineral water. It's got the lime flavor, and then she put extra lime in there. Other than that, it's just the good stuff, and then the mixing, mixer rather. So.
Yeah, it tastes good to me. I'm liking it.
Texas ranch water.
So I feel like we always drink about, or not drink. We always talk about a lot of alcohol starting first, but yeah, I'm digging this, man. This is good.
That's pretty good. Like I said, I know you're not really into the salt on the rim kind of deal, but
yeah, are you?
I kind of depends. Like I usually, if we go to a restaurant and I got like a margarita, I probably would say we just said margarita, and they usually put it on there, and I'll either take my like fingers and like rub the edge to like, so if I want to drink it without the salt, I'll just have the spot to drink it on the glass.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's not really scientific, but
Well, no, I'm the same way because
usually I don't think about it.
Yeah, I don't mind it, but if I had the choice, like, no salt. But, we've been talking about beforehand about how actually, this is a good reason to bring this up. Salt is kind of helps more of
your
workouts and stuff, right?
Mm-hmm.
With the
They've been finding,
there's more research about that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, that's kind of interesting. That's more credit to like Rob Wolf and like them folks.
Yeah.
You're less likely to lose more water the more salt you have because, I guess salt is like the big one, but they say salts and they could also, it's like a broad brush that they refer to like electrolytes also, like electrolytes is they always do that joke of it's what plants crave. You remember that Idiocracy movie?
Oh man,
when they feed all the plants Gatorade and stuff like that because they're like, it has electrolytes.
That's how they think they grow.
But like if you salt plants, they don't grow. So so I guess that's like the thing. So when like they talk about salts, they're talking about like not just your table salt, but like your electrolytes and things like that. Because again, like off of his information, this is not stuff that I'm not curating this information other than from what they've talked about is that some of those important parts of your anatomy would be the sodium and potassium pumps that kind of like regulates a lot of how your muscles work. So I mean without those you don't live and you don't function. So if you were really, really low on some of the, I guess the idea would be that if you're really low in those things, like your electrolytes, and you have really low salt, and you'll probably have diminished function or not won't be as efficient. So that's not to say that like when Matt Fraser said, hey, I had a Snickers and a Coke after a workout, people should be going and just like spoon feeding like table salt into their diets. But usually if you're an athlete, we were talking about, if you have more of that, your muscle function would theoretically be more efficient. That doesn't mean, again, like you should go out and just munch on a whole bunch of salt, but
right.
I guess the same of the electrolytes, loss of electrolytes after like because you burn it up and doing your workouts. So once you replenish that stuff, that's where you become more efficient. You get more your energy back, right?
Right. So, well, circling back, he said that
sorry, I'm rambling.
No, you're fine. That's good. No, because when you're talking, I'm getting these thoughts. Okay, let me ask him this part, but. When he eats a Snickers, it's for the sugar with glucose?
Yeah, I mean,
or
glucose, yeah.
Yeah, back into his muscles.
Glycogen is like the stored form of glucose, yeah.
And that's the reason he's doing that immediately after his. Because there is facts about, hey, if you eat this amount of sugar or whatever, immediately after workout, it's good. But you shouldn't be
that's like
pounding Snicker bars.
Exactly, yeah. Because I guess in the body, the way it works is the quickest and dirtiest version of this would be like whatever doesn't get used gets stored. So like fat most people like demonize, like look at fat as bad because they think of like fat on their plate equals fat on their waist, and it doesn't necessarily work like that.
It's not.
But fat is the one that doesn't have to get like modified or changed, maybe a little bit, but very little to be stored. Whereas like protein and carbohydrate or sugar have to be processed differently, and then they get stored. So like if you have a ton of sugar, your body's gonna be like, all right, we're good, tank is full, we're gonna save it for later, or start filling up somewhere else. So that's where if you're very if you have a lot of Snickers bars, like some of that's gonna get used immediately,
Yeah.
but some of it's gonna get saved. So
Was that the same way with protein? Like if you are taking, how do I want to word this? Okay, so somebody tells you need to have this amount of grams of protein a day,
Yep.
right? But if you are taking more into that, will it get stored as fat? We
right,
start to say
so-
you're doing your precision nutrition thing. Right?
Yeah.
So you're just not making stuff up. You get
no.
Yeah, you pretty much know what you're talking about. So.
I'm not professional.
I don't know if
but-
we've ever, when you've been on here, if we actually told anybody that you are doing that part.
Yeah, no, I'm.
Or have you finished it?
No, I'm like almost done. I put it on the side kind of right now
Okay.
I'm actually trying to go to grad school to become a registered dietitian.
There
So
you go.
it's kind of in the same vein, but I was kind of putting it off to the side while I do my prereqs.
Okay.
So, or paying more attention, let's say it like that. But, yeah, well, I mean, for the protein, is that what you're asking? Like if you had a lot
Yeah, that was my.
of extra protein.
Yeah. We might be. We're kind of going off the salt here, but
What's actually interesting because like you will process like your sugar because like that's your gas. The protein, obviously, you use it for building muscle and other things in the body. But protein is broken down differently than carbohydrate, and then fat is the one that has like the most energy. So that's the one that gets stored and used the most. As like if we're right now just sitting here, we're probably not using the sugar from a Snickers bar. You're probably from whatever you have later on your meal, but the most bang for your buck in your body, they'll use fat because it's the most dense, like as far as like energy to get used, that would be your best bet. Now the not very efficient, where like your carbohydrate would be your fast and really, really efficient, like think like jet fuel, right?
Right.
Or gas in your car. Well, the protein, if you eat excess, it will get, it can be broken down and changed because I guess the way the chemistry works is that your body will change it and store it essentially. It doesn't get stored like whey protein, if that makes sense. It gets stored, but it's a different form of what you would eat.
okay.
So a lot of people will just expel any excess that's not necessarily necessary. You could store it, like if you were in starvation mode and you were only eating, if you only had access to, if you only had access to protein, essentially your body would kind of process it so that it can be used for other things at the same time, if that makes sense. Mm-hmm. But most of the time, if you eat like a ton of excess, you're either gonna, we will store it and process it differently, but sometimes you just expel it. Like, if you ate like a ton of extra protein powder every day to like keep supplementing, you're probably just gonna pee it out or shit it out.
It's kind of the same way with
mostly.
like vitamins too.
Right.
Yeah.
There's like a sweet spot for your body to absorb. So, like, it will consistently, if you keep overeating, you will store. But if it's,
because your body's not using it, so it's going to
store it.
We'll just store it, and
because that's more of like your survival of like, we don't know when food's coming next. Natural instinct is like instinct, or that's your design. That's how you're made. Yeah, to the store. But
it stores as fat.
No, not it can be stored. So like that's where like fat storage is like where like adipose tissue. Have you heard of that? Adipose is just fat.
Oh,
adipose tissue is like fat tissue. You think of fat, adipose. So like that is very. If you think of it as like a big trash bag, like the trash bag can be really like small and compact when you put nothing in it.
Yeah.
But then if you keep shoving stuff in there, it'll obviously get bigger and expand a lot, and then it will still contain everything. It'll just be big now. So it's like essentially it's just like a big container. So if you constantly fill those stores where the adipose tissue, fat stores, it gets stored that way because that's the easy way to store it. Because the excess like protein and carbohydrate and stuff like that, most of the time you just pee it out, or if it doesn't get stored, it's going to get stored in a way that's easiest for the body to handle. And usually that's fat.
Okay.
So if you have a shit ton of Snickers bars over and over, it does have fat, so that's an easy way for it to store. but it does have a shit ton of sugar. So at some point, your body's gonna be like, well, we'll start changing. We got our gas tank is full. We'll store it for later, kind of deal. And a lot of times, if you have a really high diet with a lot of sugar and a lot of excess calories, that's typically where people get in trouble with like soda and sugary drinks, because it's very easy to really consume those really fast and have a lot of sugar, and that's where people get it. Well, they get it mostly harder times with losing weight, because it gets stored, and usually gets stored in like those adipose tissues or fat cells. I mean, again, this is like the quick dirty version.
Yeah, but I mean that makes sense because, you know, if I don't watch myself, I could easily crush some Cokes or sweet tea or anything just easily, and I forget the amounts of sugar in that. But
I mean, I think an average Coke is probably like 46 to 50 grams. I think like a Dr. Pepper or something like that has like one of the highest, or was it root beer? It was like 52 grams of sugar per serving, which would be like an average person should have. It was really, really rough. It would be like what the USDA, or I can't remember. Maybe like one of the governing bodies for as far as like how much you should have a day would be like you should average probably maybe like 50 grams. This type of sugar, the high fructose corn syrup, you probably shouldn't go over like 50 grams a day. Or if you had a Coke, you're already over probably what you would really need. So, like, so you had a Coke, and then, you know, you also had like a shit ton of fries and a burger. And I mean, that all has carbohydrate in it because, like, you know,
right,
vegetables and, you know, let's say you had dessert after. All right, so what, you having sugar in that? So that's where like a lot of times the excess sugary foods are usually what get most people in trouble, rather than being like, I mean, unless you ate like a shit ton of avocados like every day, like you were pulling down like 7 or 8 avocados a day, you're probably not going to eat, you know.
Well, avocados are high in fat.
Yeah, they're pretty dense, and as far as like high in fat, and like I said, fat has more calories.
Yeah.
So.
Well, a lot of people also get confused is that, in my opinion, that, you know, they see fat, they're like, no, we shouldn't eat this because it has fats in it, which they also think of fat as, oh, fat, I'll get fat if I eat this. But there's good fats.
Yeah,
and a lot of, like, one thing I found out, you know, with doing RP and stuff, that actually, this is kind of where I'm going with this, is that fats actually will suffice your hunger. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so it's...
You're exactly right, yeah.
Yeah, and that's what I was like, oh, so I could eat fats. Like, somebody like, no, if it's got fat in it, you shouldn't eat it. But actually, if you eat the right amount of fats, like nuts or something.
Yeah, like almonds.
It makes you feel full.
Yeah, it's satiating. So, like, you're less likely to overconsume. Like, when was the last time you were like, I just destroyed this whole bag of almonds. I just kept just going. Or like you said, you probably get tired of eating avocados before you were like, I've had 8 avocados, but I'm going to put one more away, rather than being like, you know, I had a Snickers bar one. All right, does anyone want ice cream? Yes, I will have some ice cream. Mm-hmm. You know, that's very easy to do, or have like a Coke or whatever kind of thing. So, no, you're exactly right. That is very satiating. So, that kind of answer your question?
Yeah, you know, I was just, you know, just trying to get, because I think there's a lot of confusion with fats, and people were just immediately just like, no, if it's got fat in it, I shouldn't eat it.
Yeah, because it's been kind of demonized. Like, a lot of people will say, hey, you should just low-fat foods is the best way to go, because they like a lot of let's say organizations, like the leading one that most people use as a reference, like USDA and all that, or the My Food Plate. Have you heard of all that stuff? Like, they give out the general guidelines of like what people should, an average person should
like
eat.
The food pyramid?
Kind of like that, yeah. Okay. They have like a new version of it's like called My Plate now. So instead of having like a pyramid, obviously it's just like a picture of a plate, where they also recommend like portion sizes of, essentially there'd be the plate, and they have like a reference of how much you should have on your plate every time, in addition to like all the different, it's like the pyramid, all the things in the pyramid just portioned out also. But they also say, oh, you should have, high fat diets will kill you because you'll lead to heart disease and all that stuff. But I mean, there's a lot of folks, and you've learned about a lot the you know, a lot of people that do like the carnivore diet. The people used to say like, oh yeah, well, high saturated fat diets are going to give you a heart attack. Like, that's what's going to give you a heart attack. But you know, it's different that if you're eating high saturated fatty foods from McDonald's compared to saturated fat from like good beef, or good like
grass fed beef.
Grass fed beef, or like, you know, game, like wild game or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Usually those are very lean. So like you're gonna have saturated fat, like, but I mean, it's not bad for you. But if you have a shit ton of it and it's really, really highly processed, that's where it's like, okay, that's kind of not the best.
Well,
So,
that's one of the narratives bringing that up is that if you eat a lot of red meat, that all of a sudden you're going to have a heart attack in no time. But
I feel like every other year they say red meat, red meat's gonna kill you and all that. But
and that's people are like, oh, you shouldn't eat this much red meat, but you should just eat more fish, I guess. And
or like lean meats, yeah. 'Cause
Yeah.
they think the saturated. Well, they say the saturated fat, and I'm saying that like yes, you eat as much saturated fat as you want, but typically, most of the time, most people have had the trouble with the highly processed stuff. But
well, a lot of people put on, or not, a lot of companies are actually saying zero trans fats too.
right, and that's those are good that a lot of people are doing that because the body it's harder for the body to process and it's not as healthy compared to good fat that you would get from an animal rather than genetic or
GMOs.
It's kind of like I don't not the word I'm thinking of, but like synthetic is not the right word, but
Synthetic,
processed,
like
processed.
man-made?
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's like
processed
essentially
foods,
man-made processed foods. Yeah, and like they use it as a preservative because it resists like spoiling. So like trans fats and stuff like that, but there's just the body. It's harder in your body. It's harder to process, and when I say harder to process, like it's just not as healthy for you.
Yeah. Well, who wrote the Carnivore Diet? The Carnivore Code? Paul
Saladino.
Yeah, he just said no. There's no. I don't know. He said there was the studies he actually proposed in his book was saying that you can eat red meat and you'll be fine.
Yeah. And again,
Yeah.
like he's eating like probably the best quality you can get,
Correct.
but he is eating majority of that, and he probably has a little vegetables in his diet or a little fruit and stuff like that, but it's mostly meat.
Yeah. Well, I think
body.
that's what and other studies have come out that have say, hey, if John Wellborn,
Right.
yeah, he's a proponent of, hey, if you eat red meat with some vegetables, you're going to be okay.
Yeah.
Especially, like you said, like leaner red meat, grass-fed meat and stuff.
Or wild game, or like your better types of poultry or fish, or that kind of thing. So,
Yeah, just don't eat tons of just fat, straight fat off the.
yeah, I mean, like the better quality of the meat, it'll be leaner anyways. But they do a lot of hunting, so they get a lot of wild game and stuff like that. And like has super lean, but it's the fat that it has on it is very minimal. But
Well, remember, I don't know, I can't remember if Rogan was talking about it or what, but elk is like really lean.
Right.
I think is it moose too? That's really lean. Or no, rabbits are really lean. Well, this is where my point was.
Okay.
Like the guy who won the Alone series.
oh, okay, yeah.
I think he was eating hares, and they were just so lean, and there's no
it
fats
had
on
almost
it.
nothing on them.
Yeah, and so he was doing really well, but all of a sudden his body was just like, we need some type of fat,
Yeah.
And I can't remember if he found a moose or what happened, but yeah, he finally found something
Yeah,
that actually helped.
they had more fatty.
Yeah, it helped him out a little bit, but that's kind of like, oh yeah, you can eat really, really lean meat, but all of a sudden your body does
Yeah, you do need fat. Yeah.
some type of fats. Yeah, it needs something. So
Yeah.
but typically if you're looking for wild or for leaner meat, those wild game is going to have that.
It's probably your best bet. Yeah.
Look at. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you
No,
off
no.
there, but like if you look at elk or I'm not sure about a deer and stuff, but yeah, they're always running and they're always looking for food and stuff. They're not storing up.
Yeah, that's where like you're exactly right because a lot of the that's why a lot of people that do hunt don't like buying meat or getting meat from the farms where they have like fat cows because they make more meat and it's fattier, so like they're gonna be it's a different kind of meat than a wild deer is gonna have a drastically different nutritional profile than a cow that's been in a farm in a pen just being fed what are they not they always say grain free or whatever, I can't remember, the grass finished and things like that.
Yeah, grass fed.
But yeah, if it's fed like wherever like the cheapest feed or whatever, it's probably going to be fatty because it just sits around and eats. But that's how they want it because they get paid based off like the pound, not necessarily that it's super lean and healthy. But it makes sense.
Yeah, so the government subsidizes farms like that, right? So
Right.
if you grain feed them, and obviously when they go to the market, if you sell them, I probably should look more into this. If you sell it at a higher weight, right,
Well,
you're gonna get more off of it, for more meat out of it,
Right,
But it's
because you're
not-
selling more of a product, product right now.
But then it comes into these are grain fed cows. or whatever, that's not going to be necessarily the best meat for you. But I've been looking at, you know what regenerative farming is?
Yeah.
Yeah. So if you start getting get cows who are just eating grass and whatever they naturally want to eat, that's going to be your best bang for your buck.
Right.
Even though if it's not sell at auction the highest weight or whatever, but that's
it's nicer. Like it's more expensive because it's a better quality of meat.
Right.
So that's like the market where like they can charge more because it's a better type of meat rather than like your high fatty. Yes, they're gonna sell it more of it because it's easier to produce and all that. But like you're saying, like those cows that are doing the regenerative farming are doing their natural stuff. It's just more expensive to do that, but it's a nicer product.
Yeah, I've been watching more documentaries on that, and for those who don't know what regenerative farming is, from my take on it that I've gotten is that, and James, correct me if I'm wrong or anything, but like, all right, so say, all right, this table is your land,
All right.
and so if you divide this in 4 sections, you'll have the cows who will graze off the grass for this area for a certain amount of time, and then after the grass is dead or whatever, they've ate it all, you move it on to this next section while this grass will grow back naturally, and then you just make this whole circle, and then that's what's better for the cows and also better for us as we eat those cows, and I'm not sure where I was going with that point.
No,
but I think that's more of a better way of just keeping the cows in one solid area. We're giving these grains that also could be. The grain is not always pure. I guess. Is that what
I think it's just it's like so like
because when they go there through the crops and they're getting other rodents in there, or other pesticides.
Exactly.
There
Yeah.
we go. That's
Whatever,
that's what I was trying to go with.
Whatever it's included in the feed, or it's like the.
This is why I like doing this. I get
like,
my thoughts out. It makes more sense when I'm trying. It might take me a minute to think but I get it out there.
I know what you're saying.
Okay.
But yeah, I mean, so it costs more because now instead of having like just buildings full of cows that like buildings of like I'm talking about, like they have like a
silos,
not like a silo, but like let's just say they have this massive building that has just like a cover on it. So they just have penned up cows that are just eating the feed or whatever. But that's probably they can probably put cows like stack them up in those buildings. I say building, but like covered areas, so like they're not sitting out in the rain or the sun all day kind of thing. But I'm not a farmer. I don't know. Sorry, I'm just talking about my ass.
I mean, before I don't mean to cut you off, but like my dad's a dairy farmer, and I got a cousin who does beef farming. So maybe I should talk to them more.
That's probably that'd be good.
So maybe this is something to come.
This could be like the follow up.
Yeah. Hey, y'all
all
come
right.
on.
So remember everything we said in the last one? Didn't know a thing.
Correct us.
But they can in that. Let's say you have the same amount of property, right? And you're gonna know you're not gonna do the regenerative farming. You could this whole place you could just stack ass to ankles, with cows and just give them that cheap food or the less high quality food, or instead of letting them graze, where you could get this many cows, like that would cover up the entire table. But if you didn't have if you use like the more of the regenerative farming, you were gonna have less cows and use like the spaces like you're saying, like let's say there's 4 spaces or whatever, right? You'd rotate them. Well, if you had that entire like that same amount of cows, you're gonna need that much more space. So it's like it's more expensive probably for the farmer or the whoever's raising the cattle and all that, because for that to be enough space and food, like if you have so many cows, you're gonna need so much land. But if you have all of these cows eating the low quality food, they can just throw it in like a trough or something like that and let them do it, rather than they're naturally going to walk around and eat their own grass and all that stuff. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does, because I think that's where, like, if the government subsidizes before you even plant or do anything, a farmer can automatically know they'll have profit off this year just based off subsidization. And so without actually just having to go out there and like doing extra work, I guess, and moving the cows, hoping that they'll be able to produce enough feed or enough to send the cows to market. I'm probably way off base here.
Right.
Yeah, and they're going to probably just like what you're saying, lose profit just from farming. But if they do it the old, I don't know if it's a new fashion.
More efficient way for them probably. More economical.
A more efficient way for them to make money.
Right.
For farmers to make money. But if they do it more of the regenerative way, they're not always could be their profit and their pockets. I guess is what I'm trying to
say. And like I said, that's like a lot of people like Joe Rogan here on his podcast. He doesn't like the like the systematic raising of animals just to kill them.
Factory farming.
Yeah, essentially that's what we're saying. Like factory farming of like, rather than them doing the regenerative farming and let them naturally do the thing, they're just kind of like, raising them to kill them.
Right.
And obviously, but,
Well, that's how they're making their money. But
Right, but compared to what we're saying is like, they're not going to make as much money, or they may not make as much money because, they don't really care the quality of life. They're just raising them to kill them, rather than, hey, I'm going to do better for the animals, even though they are going to be meat product at some point. But they're going to have the ability to move around and not being like a pen all day. I don't know if that makes sense. So I think a lot of people don't really know where their food comes from. Like, they go to the grocery store and they're like,
it's just there.
Yeah, it's just there. Like,
yeah. Where does ice cream come
Right.
from? It's in the grocery store.
It's in the grocery store, aisle 8, right?
Yeah, that's where it comes from. How did it get there, though?
So.
But yeah, I mean, because some, cows or pigs, chickens, whatever, they'll just, chickens especially will live their lives just sitting in
and cages and
cages,
shit like that.
topped on top of each other, and they're shitting on top of each other. And yeah, if you want chicken or burgers from McDonald's to cost $1 or whatever, that's what has to be done. And that's the reason it's found out that way. But as we're saying, to get better quality types of meat.
So that's when you go to like a nice restaurant and they're like, yeah, this is a chicken that has been not in a cage or whatever, or wherever they say it is, right?
But cage
free. Yeah, cage free. Or, that's going to cost you more because it's probably going to be a better product. But yeah, like compared to getting you chicken sandwich at McDonald's
for $1,
compared to going to, Sharky's is not like, fine dining, but you know what I'm saying? Like it's not like the Ritz-Carlton, they're having, the same chicken that goes to McDonald's is not going to the Ritz-Carlton for their kind of thing. Well, yeah. It's like, so that's why like the pink slime people were talking about, like in the chicken nuggets and stuff like that, like really highly processed, and it's just like the cheapest chicken that they can get, because how many chicken nuggets do they make a year? Or how many, across the United States, across the world, they're making shit tons of chicken nuggets. So.
Yeah, no, I was watching, there's a documentary on Netflix, and is it Woody Harrelson?
He's a narrator?
Yeah. The Taste? No. The Last Harvest? Fuck. I wish I had my phone. I got my phone, but I don't want to look at it because I know I'll get off subject. But anyway, there's a narrative. I'm not a narrative. A documentary on Netflix. He's the host of it. And it's talking about regenerative farming and how, kind of what we're talking about. How if you want better meat, you should do it this way. But if you want the poor people are kind of I shouldn't say the poor people, but
I know what you're saying.
People with lower incomes,
right? They can't afford the high quality stuff.
Yeah, but this is why they're in favor of it is just because they're able to go to McDonald's and feed a family of 4 for what $20? Yeah, and get a full meal. But they're not getting it's nutrient deficient food.
Right.
Yeah, they think they're getting a full meal, but it's really not.
Yeah, it's easy. It's like just like kind of anything else. You're gonna pay.
Keep talking. No, keep talking.
You're gonna pay more for a nicer product. So yeah, you're gonna pay more for that. More humanely raised, or more, let's say, like more nutritious beef or chicken, but it is going to cost you because it's cost more to provide that product compared to chickens on top of chickens and racks and shit like that, where it's just going to be a chicken nugget at some day. That is not going to be the same as a sit down restaurant that's going to charge $15 for a chicken sandwich.
Kiss the ground. Okay, that's what it's called. But but. One thing he said in there is that, I don't know how true this is or how they got this information. So if we keep, when I say we, I'm not farming obviously, but if farmers keep doing exactly how we're farming now,
right,
we have 60 years of harvest left for this earth to... Yeah,
so
that's all we got.
The same levels, right? Yeah.
If we keep doing it at the same level, and they were kind of talking about with greenhouse gases, and I might be butchering this completely, so people don't get mad at me. Just watch the documentary. But
get mad at Woody.
This is part of the whole climate change. Is that we're tearing up the earth, and gosh, I don't know, but that's what's caused the
byproducts
of greenhouse gases, and there you go.
Essentially, the byproducts are the cost of doing business the way that we've been doing it, right?
Yeah. So, but if we all get back to, because regenerative farming is essentially the way our ancestors grew up farming. Right. They did their farming, because we didn't have these high tech.
More natural.
Yeah, it was all natural stuff, and they just let the cows do whatever they wanted to do. But it was just feeding I guess their village or towns right then.
And it's like maybe a fraction of the percentage, right, that the United States is or the world is right now, right? Because everything was smaller then, so they didn't need.
Oh, sorry.
No.
I keep having these thoughts. It's like, I gotta say it.
No,
right.
it's all good. Yeah.
But like there was a thought that was said on there. I'll just grow in there.
Sarah's talking out there, I think.
Okay.
Watching shit.
Fuck, hope I didn't. Okay, so there was a thought that. Fuck, I think
Sorry.
That if we keep doing it this way, that we're not going to. I already said that 60 years.
Right. The 60 years, yeah.
Okay, that's what I was going to say. So that if we keep, all right, so factory farming, which allows us to feed a population the size of America.
Right.
So if we went into this regenerative farming and more natural ways of trying to feed our people with meat, that we don't know if we could feed the amount of people in America.
It'd be the amount of space needed would be like double the size of the country or something like that, right?
I guess, yeah, and essentially that, just doing it this way, just raising cattle, chickens, or whatever, pigs, just to kill them, like you said earlier, to kill them, just we can throw out just tons of bacon everywhere. But if we did it naturally, I don't think that we can just kill all.
Or price of bacon is going to be real expensive,
yeah,
right?
I think that would be more to what it is. And that it's like, okay, well, I guess America's not going to be eating meat anymore.
It's kind of like the nature of...
And this is where the poor people... I'm sorry, again, I cut you off. This is where the poor people... God, I hate saying that. The poor people. This is where lower income people...
Less fortunate,
Less fortunate, or will suffer from because they will not be able to go to McDonald's to get a dollar
they won't be
burger.
able to afford bacon if it's $15 to get a pound of bacon.
But even though they think it would be very better for them.
Oh, yeah, much better nutritionally rather.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, that's
I feel like I'm offending a lot of people right now, but
I would say you're offending. I mean, like,
but I think these are just statistics.
Yeah,
I mean, this is a science, or there's
somebody that's living paycheck to paycheck is not going to be willing to spend the same amount. Maybe not willing to spend. I'll say if they're not to live beyond their means to buy bacon, rather than if it's $10 to get a pound of bacon and then there's like $2 to get a pound of bacon. You're like, well. Makes sense for me to get the $2 or $2.
Why would I not do that?
But that's just like the simple economics of setting the price that low because it's cheap and easy to produce, and But I've heard that before. That I hear it with. Have you heard of that? The argument where people are saying we should switch to like the gas made out of corn. Have you heard of that? Like gas, like fuel, gas, like instead of like alternative,
like vegetable oil.
Yeah, or using
for the cars.
Yeah, instead of using.
I've watched a couple of YouTube videos of guys
instead of using oil, right? Or crude oil, but instead of using the current way, to like when you go out and fill up your car, use like the regular gas. They would use like your vegetable-based gas, and I remember, it's probably way different, but I remember hearing the statistic being like for the United States to do that, just for the United States, essentially they would have to use every square mile of the United States to only grow corn to produce enough to get close to where we need to be for the fuel usage of the country, or of our country. So
just
essentially,
our country alone.
Yeah, the visualization was like, knock everything down. Everything is a cornfield now. The only way we would be able to sufficiently, our economy would be able to survive would be to grow corn, and that's the only product that we make just for the gas. The equivalent. It's not like a real world situation, obviously, but
just to fuel like cars,
lawnmowers.
The amount of gas that we use in this country
would essentially be like we can only grow corn and that's it, and we'd also probably need corn from other countries. So if we're going to use that. And then you can't use the same.
Well, if we weren't able to get gas anymore, I mean, it's either that, get vegetable oil, or electric, right?
Yeah, I mean, realistically, the reason why we're doing it this way is it's the most efficient for us to do, most cost effective, right? I mean,
just take gas from the Middle East.
Or we did have I'm not trying to get political or anything like that. Like the pipeline and stuff like that, and it does make it harder, and that's why gas prices are up and things like that. I know there's not more of it's not that easy of a relationship, but we do have our own we do pull out our own oil, our own reserves or our own resources. But yeah, we do trade a lot. For a while, I think we were self-sufficient, and we were not having to buy as much as we did, or I can't remember the numbers or anything like that, but because I'm not that educated in that area, but we were very self-sufficient, so that's why gas was like really cheap, because that we were able to produce a lot by taking our own. And now that recently, with having to do with less, we have to import more, or we have to get more from other countries, and that's where price goes up, things like that. I'm not an economist, so this is pretty really rough and dirty, and people are probably like, that guy is dumb. Stick in your lane. But
you can just DM me or email us, and we'll
just like, James is trash. Just get him off your podcast.
And we'll talk about it later what we fucked up on. But don't America have reserves of?
I mean, yeah, we have like
somewhere.
Reserves. Yeah, but I think that's more of like your reserve is. Obviously, they don't want to use the reserve.
That's only like zombie apocalypse.
Right. Let's say tomorrow they're like, we can't get any more out of the ground. Okay, we have this much until we can figure out what to do with next, and that kind of thing. Again, I don't know, but I know they do have reserves. So
yeah,
I mean, like a couple of years ago, they dipped into reserve to like kind of like ease. And I don't even know.
What's like prices going up?
Yeah, like when everything. I don't know.
To try to keep them at a.
Yeah, to essentially keep the price to a certain point. They're like, we're in a crisis right now. We need to dip into the reserves a little bit. And, but
so gas wouldn't go to $4 a
right,
gallon,
or $10 a gallon or whatever it was. And I mean,
if gas did go to, around here, what is it? Almost $3?
Almost just under $3 probably.
Yeah,
it's like 260, 270, probably 270.
Okay, that sounds right. So if gas did go up, let's say $3+ a
California.
Gallon, I think it's
like $4+, $5.
Yeah, certain states, stuff like that. I mean, if it was that, let's say it was normal for gas to be $5 plus all over America, I mean, that would crush people.
A lot. A lot of, so many people have to drive drive. A lot of our shipping is off of, diesel and gas, diesel, things like that. I mean, that costs a lot of money. So, yeah, more expensive, prices go up, that kind of thing. But.
Well, that's more of the, to get the electric cars going, like Tesla, right?
Yeah, I mean,
have you ever rode in Tesla? Right?
I've never been in a Tesla. Sarah has been in a Tesla. I would very much still like to be in a Tesla and see like the acceleration that everyone talks about.
Like you just hit the gas and it's like 0 to 60 in like 1.9 seconds.
Yeah, it's like insane. I like roller coasters, so that makes me think of like a roller coaster for some reason. But then I'm like, I'm kind of scared because it's not a roller coaster on a track; it's a car. But
no, Elon's making I think it's a Roadster, which obviously along the Cybertruck, it hasn't come out yet, but I think it's supposed to be like the fastest car 0 to 60. The production car.
He's like the guy that's like, I'm gonna make the fastest thing ever. I'm gonna send it to space, and I'm also gonna have one down here too.
But no, it's. I've watched videos on it and stuff and heard him talk about it. It's like, I want one. Give me the Roadster.
I just do the Tom Segura, right, and just like drive it around for what does he do? Drive it for a week or something like that.
And I wish I could get involved with that. Just somebody sends you a car for a week and you just film it and like,
it's like just someone toss you the keys, you're like, see you in a week.
Yeah, I think he had the last one I saw on one of his YouTube videos. He was driving a Hellcat. I think it was a Charger or Challenger, one of those, and he was just ripping it down. I guess the 401. Is it the 401 in Los Angeles, LA, or 405?
I don't know the numbers.
Yeah, but anyway, he just ripped it down the highway, and he was just like, "Fuck." I was like, "Damn, that's got to be so badass."
Yeah, I like speed. So I would definitely be interested in the drive. That's like one of those. You ever hear about the NASCAR experience? You could go do that, or you could like go and I'm sure if you know people, you could probably get your hands on one and drive one, but you would get driven around by. So what? It's all about who you know. That's right.
Life.
Where you would get to ride in they rigged up a NASCAR to have like a passenger seat, so they have a professional driver take you around at the speed of what a race is like. And so it'd be essentially like a custom made car that would take you around, whereas like usually they don't have a passenger seat in a NASCAR or original NASCAR during a race or anything like that, because that's extra weight and all that stuff. But so they have either professional driver, or they'll have someone that is either a former race car driver. I don't know, but they have somebody that knows what they're doing, so you don't die.
Yeah.
They take you around and like whip you around the course and stuff like that. I would like to do that just to see what the insane speed is
Going
like.
200 miles an hour,
Right.
probably.
Or like the Formula One cars and stuff like that. When you see like, I don't really watch racing, but I do like watching the videos every once in a while. I probably won't sit down and watch a race for an hour. Right, being like, I'll watch a clip of them and being like,
I can't do that, man.
when like does the car does like this, they have like the camera on the side of the like the guardrail or something like that, and the car's like a blink. It's like going like real fast. You're like, yeah, exactly. You're like, it's going at insane speed. I would like to be able to know what it feels like to drive that fast. It's also scary at the same time. But yeah, I think my uncle did it. I think at Disney they had some kind of relationship with that. But they would call it like the driver experience, where you could get in one of those cars. And then
like Daytona or something? No, wait, that's the Daytona Beach, so Disney's Orlando.
Maybe
they had a thing
there?
there?
Or I'm sure there's a race course in Orlando, right? It's got to be shaped like a Mickey Mouse ear or something like that.
We have our Disney. We have our own racetrack.
No one likes
Probably.
No one likes fucking racing there.
I mean, they have their own sports complex,
Right.
so why not? I don't know.
So maybe it's not like an authentic NASCAR course or a course racetrack. Who's winning the match? But my uncle, I think my uncle did it, and there's something in my brain that says like the person that he talked to was like, yeah, I would not like to be the passenger because now I'm only a couple inches off the wall compared to being like a couple feet off the wall. Right there. As now you're the fastest moving object in the state, and you're right up against the wall. Anyways,
what do they go? So NASCAR probably gets up to 200,
something like that, right?
What does Formula One get up to? I think
it's
got to
be more than that,
right?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know either. You look at those videos, and this looks like a blink of an eye, and it's like past them.
Yeah, it's like real. It's like shit. But yeah, I've never. Have you ever been to a NASCAR race or anything?
No.
I've been to a qualifying once, and I was 7th or 8th grade in Martinsville Speedway. Yeah, watching NASCAR.
Did you have a good time while you're there?
I mean, it's okay. You just.
Yeah.
All right, what was the fastest lap? The next car comes up. I mean, let's just think me, my brother, my mom. I mean, it was.
Like it's interesting, but I don't know if I could sit down and watch a race. Right?
Yeah, I've never been.
Maybe the last lap.
Yeah, that's usually growing up. I mean, I think some of my family would watch it, and it was just I could never just sit there for 3 hours just watching them. But like I think my stepdad would, and it's just I can't. I mean, half the time he's probably dozing off too.
Right.
But it's like, all right, 3 laps to go. Down Earnhardt's in this one.
That's like when we talked about baseball the other day. Like, if I was at a baseball game, I would. For some reason, I am just naturally like I focus on the game a lot.
Yep.
And if I was to watch it on TV though, but I'd be like not really paying attention, just casually paying attention or casually watching the game. But if I was actually there, it'd be different. I don't know if I'd like to go to a NASCAR race. I'd probably say I would, but
my thing's just so fucking loud. I think, and it's just I wouldn't want to.
I just don't have that appreciation, I guess, for it. Yeah.
I guess that and just like, all right, is this an excuse to drink or have a good time?
Yeah. I mean, because like, isn't the the horse racing essentially like the upper class NASCAR? I mean, essentially the straight say what it is.
Shorter, right?
Most people just go for the party, like the Kentucky Derby
and the gambling.
Yeah, most people just go for the gambling and the drinking, the fun stuff.
I mean, yeah, right. I mean, I would like to attend the Kentucky Derby at least once in my life and put a little money on there, but I haven't. I feel like a lot of my family's gamblers, but I have one of my uncles. He's a huge like horse racing fan, and he'll gamble like I don't know how on the internet he can watch the races. Like I always thought it was just like the Belmont, the Preakness, and the Kentucky Derby.
But there's fucking always races.
There's
right?
always horse races.
Yeah.
I guess growing up, but I didn't know that. But I always thought, they only race like 3 times a year.
Right.
All right. But no, he's on there every
all the
weekend.
time,
yeah. And there's these off-track betting parlors he'll go to. I think there's one in Roanoke, Colonial Downs.
I think so.
That
sounds familiar.
I think there's one in Martinsville or Danville too. But anyway, he'd go there and they have races all over the country, and you can bet on them right there, and you just go sit and watch and drink. I was like, damn!
When we went to Vegas, when we went to the hotel, they had one of the largest sports bet like in Vegas at the hotel, and I'm drawing a blank now in the hotel.
The Blues.
Great story, James.
Bellagio.
Bellagio.
MGM.
Fuck. No, it wasn't. It was one of the older ones, but
the old strip.
Not on the old strip. It was on the new strip, but one of the older ones.
Okay.
Terrible story. Sorry. Anyways, it has one of the high. No,
What's his name? And shit.
One of the biggest sports book like as far as like the screens, like the amount of places you can do, like they had like their own horse racing section that had, it's kind of interesting. They had like little booths that you could sit there and watch and pay to watch on this, or pay to be in this little like cubicle almost with the races on. You pick whatever races and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But there's like 50 of them. And then like they have all the games up and they have all the lines, like essentially Vegas, like, so they have all the odds and things like that. And they have specific areas where you can go watch and place bets, or if you're watching the game. So like obviously a big moneymaker for them is they're going to have a football game on, and they have a shit ton of seating. Screens are all over the place. So it's kind of almost like just like the biggest sports bar you've ever seen. Only obviously you can bet and stuff. But they have the horse racing things, and that's one of those things. I'm like, I knew people bet on horse racing, but I didn't know anything about the season, or if it's like football season, or if it's anything like that. But we're going. I'm like, you're like walking past in these little booths, and there's people in there. And it's weird because like you can see through the glass, and they can see you. And they're in this tiny little room watching this little TV and like watching the horse races. I'm like, I mean, weird. I guess that's cool. I don't know. I just thought it was interesting. Again, blew my mind. I was thinking there's a season to like horse racing, but nope, it's all the time, everywhere. So yeah, people were putting bets and stuff like that on the races. They go out of their booth, they come back into their booth, they go out, that kind of thing. So
yeah, that's the way my uncle is. So, or my uncles were or are, I guess. So, but I mean, he's gone to a couple. I think the Preakness or the Belmont's near Baltimore. I can't remember which one. There's one in New York. And one's in close to Baltimore. I don't think it's in Baltimore.
I have no quality input. He's been to that. It's probably going to be wrong. So I'm not even
I don't know either. But yeah, but no, there's some website he goes on and he'll sit there and just. I mean, he's not betting big money.
Right.
Yeah, he'll put in. Okay, I got $5 on a 12.
Right.
I go, okay, Unky, get it. Make your bread, bro. But then he's like, "Fuck, I lost." Well. But yeah,
how it goes, right?
Yeah, he's took me a couple times, and when I was before I was 18, I couldn't bet, obviously, and he, they give us a book and like showed all the races going on, and he's like, "Oh, which one you want to bet on?" And I was like, "He's got a pretty cool name."
Yeah,
but bet him. I don't know, so.
And finishing out the field.
Sorry,
the guy I picked. Shit.
Yeah. So that's how I picked my horses, but anyway,
it's insane, like the amount of money that goes into having like a racehorse. Like I remember watching one of those ESPN documentaries about one of the guys that did the race, or one of the guys behind the horse.
Oh, like that one major guy who
it was like the
Derby winners?
The trainer, yeah. Like how much it like cake is involved in that? It's insane.
Ridiculous amounts.
Which is like hard to fathom how much, the money that goes into that, having a racehorse, and this guy's getting paid millions of dollars to take care of these horses and all that. I was like,
yeah, and then plus after, like who was the latest horse to win the Triple Derby? Triple Derby?
Triple
Crown.
Triple Crown.
American Pharaoh.
Yes, that's not. I recognize the name, so I'm going to say yes.
American Pharaoh.
I think American Pharaoh is the right name.
The latest one.
I think so.
Okay. That sounds right. But anyway.
Seabiscuit. No, I know.
Did he win one?
No. He's just like really old.
He got a movie, though.
Old, yeah. Tobey Maguire, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Spider-Man?
Yeah. Spider-Man.
I think he did he did Spider-Man, Seabiscuit, Spider-Man.
But no, he was, but I think, just going on what you're saying, that just after they win, I mean, just them going out for
they're studs then.
Yeah, they're studs, bro, and
they
they're just
make
making
more horses.
hey, I want you to bang my horse, and they will
pay
you $250,000.
Yeah, they pay insane amounts of money to stud them out, right?
Yeah, it's just like, damn. All right, well, we're gonna have another Triple Crown.
That's a part of the world I will never know anything about until I win the lottery and lose it all on the horse. No, I'm just kidding.
But I mean, that's just if you want to talk about dog breeds and human genetics and stuff, obviously, you pair the best of the best,
right?
And hopefully you get something better. Then you just repeat the process, right?
That's where like they pay, like it's really important to have like the lineage of like this horse goes back generations and all that. Like I know the little that I do know, I've heard that like it's a very big deal to have a documented history of where your horse came from. So like check out the paperwork and stuff like that. Yeah. But
well, that was one thing. I forgot who was talking about it. I don't know if it's Bert Kreischer or Tom Segura, like you said, but they were talking about how the bloodlines of dogs have gotten so
Oh,
pure.
yeah. So over the years, right?
Yeah, that it's almost just become that it's starting. You would think, yeah, with a good bloodline, you don't have to worry about anything. But now it's that, oh, you're seeing more health issues. I think he had a mastiff or something, and it's like
Right.
the hip dysplasia or something.
German Shepherds are really known for that, right?
Yeah, and it was just insane. He was like, what the hell? Is this like a pure bloodline? And like, I don't know how factual
Yeah.
this is, but this is what he
No, I've
was
heard that.
stating
I think
from
that's
a
accurate,
vet.
yeah.
And I would think the opposite though. Is like, because you
Right.
have bloodline's pure, you're good. You ain't got to worry about it.
Yeah, I think it's like the pictures, like they'll have pictures of like 80 years ago what the dog looked like, or like what the bulldog looked like, and now what it looks like. And you're like, so it looks way different. Or like they'll have like, yeah, a German Shepherd is like a third of the size it used to be, or I can't remember if that's the correct breed, but I do know what you're talking about. I don't remember if it was different then, but I've heard that before of like, hey, this is what this dog used to look like 100 years ago. Mm-hmm. And it's like this old black and white photo, and it looks like a totally different animal compared to what it is today. But yeah, I guess if you have, maybe this is not a great way to say it, but like, let's say you had a family member that you created a child with. If you both carry a gene for a specific disease or condition, well, I mean, your odds greatly increase of that kid having that condition. Whereas if you had the odds of doing it with a random person, having a kid with a random person that doesn't have that, well, that cuts your odds way down.
Yeah.
Right? So if you're constantly putting these dogs that are higher risk at maybe these conditions or that are susceptible to these conditions, you're just constantly putting them together. Odds are good that they'll change over time, or they'll have those health issues. Like, Zeke is German Shorthair Pointer, and I guess they're known to have skin issues or allergy issues.
Really?
Right?
I didn't know that.
Like, I mean, skin issues. Like, he's got dry skin, he itches all the time. He doesn't know how to do it anyways. He's a dummy. But we've heard from multiple people that they typically have some allergy issues to food, and are sometimes have trouble with like allergy, dry skin, things like that.
Really? I didn't.
That's what
realize
we've
that.
heard, like just doing some general research for the dog.
And that's just from.
I think it's
breeding?
just kind of the breed is known for that.
And the
maybe
genes
that's
are-
not for everybody,
the genes
but
are carrying
that
it?
could be something. I mean, that's now that we're talking about it, I think I probably heard that before. It's being something that has been maybe an issue on a handful of the dogs, and then somewhere down the line they just they want the dogs to instead of being mutts, they're going to be purebred GSBs that down the line they all develop these problems. I don't know. I mean, like I said, the German Shorthair Pointer, or not German Shepherd, the German Shepherd has known for having the hip problems and stuff like that. I think that's pretty genetic. Mm-hmm. So,
well, I mean, we talked about the same thing what you're talking about. If you go into humans, I mean, depending on your parents and their
Right.
parents, I mean, I think heart disease and it's more stomach cancer seems to run on my dad's side of the family. Well, stomach cancer on my dad's side, heart disease on my mom's side. So, and that's what, if somebody's ever asked me about my mortality or anything, well, that might a strong word.
Yeah, I know what you're saying.
mortality,
I know
but
what you're
yeah.
saying. Yeah,
Well,
yeah.
usually
Family
I'm like,
history, right?
Yeah, I'm probably going to die of a heart attack. If that don't get me, then I guess some kind of cancer. So.
what's like, a lot of people are like that. We're like this person had a heart attack at like 40, and they're like, all right, well, my dad had a heart attack at 40, and his dad had a heart attack at 40. So it's like,
Hold on, keep talking.
genetic.
I gotta look up something.
But I mean, that's how the whole genetics thing. Like we talked about the gene expression a couple episodes back,
We did.
right? So
Yeah.
that, I mean, but that's like how your genetics is directly linked, or your a condition like having a heart attack at 40. There's a great influence on your genetics. There's a lot of other things like your environment and lifestyle choices. Like if you eat McDonald's every day and you drink the Rock's tequila. No, I'm just kidding. If you drink alcohol and you have all these other risk factors, yeah, you're probably more higher risk. But
That's what it was. So, talking about carrying gene stuff, my dad's a carrier of chromatosis,
okay,
and he wanted me to go get checked out to see if I had that. So, which luckily I didn't. But apparently, for those who don't know what that is, causes your body to store too much iron from the food you eat. Excess iron is stored in your organs, especially in the heart and pancreas. Too much iron can lead to life-threatening conditions. So,
it's like my family history is like my mom side has like high blood pressure and cancer on that side. My dad's side is the same thing. So
Okay. You can talk.
Sarah was saying that she's gonna start preparing the Sloppy Joe mix, right? Sloppy Joe mix. So, yeah, breakfast of champions. The dinner of champions, right? Is the Rock's Tequila sponsored? Please sponsor us.
Please. No joke.
Dwayne, for listening. I mean, you're probably working out right now, so might as well listen to it, right?
He's got a gym in Charlottesville.
Does he? That he owns the gym?
Well, he made a gym.
Oh, okay.
He built a gym.
Okay.
He has a gym.
Is it shaped like?
He works out.
Okay. Well, I'm pretty sure he does work out. But Lance was telling me about like a picture of him that he's been training for that Black Adam role.
Yeah. We were talking about it.
Yeah,
too.
like you're like, dang, he's big, and then like Lance is like, have you seen the photo of him recently?
It's like he got bigger.
God, I was like, that guy's huge, and he's bigger. So,
I mean, I like The Rock. I have all respect for him. But if
Yeah.
you go back and kind of, I think we've talked about Barry Bonds being on steroids.
Oh,
before,
yeah.
his hat size and stuff. But if you look at The Rock, back
different human.
when he was wrestling in WWE,
Yeah.
and when you look at him, like I remember first coming in, I forgot which Fast and Furious it was.
There's 9 of them now.
But anyway, I was like, dude, they're fucking huge.
They're documentaries too. Sorry, no, go sorry.
They're great documentaries. They're going to space in the next one.
It's crazy that they're filming the documentary right now. Yeah. Shit.
But yeah, that dude just keeps growing.
Yeah.
I didn't think it worked like that.
That's something in the water down there.
Yeah, what you drinking, man? That's too much Teremana Tequila.
Well, that's the crazy thing is that they work. The steroids.
So, we were talking with Lance and I. Shout out to Lance. That because we were talking about Rock doing steroids, and I forgot how we got on the subject. But then we went into how Joe Rogan not automatically, but he was very open about.
Oh, what
he's not very. He didn't say steroids, but he's taking HGH, and he is a testosterone replacement.
Okay.
And obviously, he went on about all his vitamins and shit that he does.
Yeah, he's pretty open about that.
Yeah, and somebody called him out being a walk-in supplement store, but
That's his choice.
But yeah, I think he was just kind of saying that it's like, yeah, I mean, I don't care if people know that I know, or know that I'm taking them, but you can kind of tell. I don't know if you can really tell with Joe Rogan because he's not, he's thick and short and stock, but
yeah,
but the way he talked is like he does it by, he found a jack doctor or something once. It's like, hey, how do I do this right? So just his forehead.
Somebody knows what they're doing.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. Like, hey, let me just not take a bunch of shit, and all of a sudden my forehead grows and nothing else.
Yeah,
So.
I mean, I would say it's different. I guess maybe to go riff off this, but it's different if you were in a sport, right? Obviously, they're trying to make everything as fair on the level. Obviously, with like baseball and football and basketball, you don't probably hear about it too much in basketball, but I'm sure it exists. But
Well,
the whole point of the sport but like obviously they outlaw steroids because everyone should be on the level, right? The advantage is someone's cheating, right? If they take steroids where everyone else is not allowed to take steroids. So if you're not a professional ball player, if you want to, I mean,
why not?
if you're not in a
if you do it right,
sport, yeah. I mean, I don't,
Well, that's what.
I don't see why not.
Well, that's what
I'm not saying
him.
go do it, kids, but
yeah. But that's what I was telling him. If somebody offered it to me, I would be hesitant.
Right.
But I was like, well, am I really trying to go to the CrossFit Games?
Right.
Am I really trying to win the Super
what's
Bowl?
the risk and reward, right?
Yeah, that's kind of what it is. Like, all right, is this my right arm going to grow with nothing else, or what?
Yeah,
like, I think I would like to see myself try it for 30 days.
Right.
And as long as I knew, like, kind of what we were saying is that somebody said, all right, take this much, do
Right.
this,
Or
to
it's
a
very
science.
regulated or very tested, right?
Yeah, very to a science. All right, then after 2 weeks, 3 weeks, we'll check your blood, see what's going on. Then we'll change it out. Kind of how they were doing it with the Icarus. And
Right.
I know
yeah.
we talked
That's
about
that's
that on
a
before.
perfect example.
Yeah, because he was like, "Hey, we're taking this much. All right, let's check some stuff. All right, now we'll do
Right.
this." Yeah,
Yeah.
it'd be interesting.
I would definitely like to be able to. This is more for a personal. I think like I would not saying that I'd be like, oh, I would definitely do steroids if someone gave me the chance. I'm not planning on competing for the CrossFit Games at all unless I make it to the Masters division, like the 70 plus. I just need to outlast somebody. But
Yeah, take whatever you want. Make yourself at home, Sarah. You don't have to whisper. You can come in and say hi if you want to everybody. Oh.
No, I don't want to. I don't know what I'm talking about. I don't know what I was talking about. Steroid stuff. Like,
Yeah.
you know, would I take it more? I'd probably, if I was going to take it, I would just to see what the difference would actually be. Like, hey, is this going to actually give me 50 pounds here, or am I going to look like I'm actually fucking cut out of stone?
Yeah.
You know, I know that there is risk and all that stuff, but I would not, this is just me talking. I wouldn't put anything in my body that I didn't think would be like, that's not well tested or well researched. Obviously, people can have different reactions.
You go to a back alley and they just say, hey, man, put
Yeah,
this in there.
like, hey, man, okay, yeah, let me just,
okay.
right in the cheek, dude, right there. But, you know, would I be, I mean, if I knew there was very, very little risk and I wasn't competing for anything, I was just working out. Why not? I mean,
try it for 30 days.
Yeah, but if I was planning on being a CrossFit athlete or if I was planning on hitting a baseball for a living, I probably wouldn't fuck around with that stuff because.
Well, I mean, ego and stuff like that comes into it,
right.
you know. And we've talked about hard work versus talent before,
right.
and you know, you get to a certain point, you know, and just like, man, you know, I need, because you know, I feel like you know a lot of people, you know, will do everything they can correctly to get to where they want
right.
to be, but it's like. I gotta do something, man. And I'm sure there's probably some movies I can't even think of that's some guy has like, hey, man, I need some type of
Captain America
extra help. Exactly.
Too soon? Sorry.
Exactly. He got shot up with some stuff. Now look at he's a superhero. But no, I mean, but
crazy they killed that little guy and put that big screen guy on screen now.
Yeah. But you know, it's just like, oh, I want an extra push. I need something else to get me over the edge. I'm doing everything correctly, and you know, and some people it's just not there for them.
Right. I guess I see it as like I look through the view of like I would just like to see personally like how strong or how like you know how much I could you know not like in the I'm gonna tear my body up to get this lift, but what would I be capable of if I could do that with the like steroids or the supplements or whatever, because like a steroid is essentially what a supplement is.
Yeah.
You know, if you see people who are like, oh, I'm all natural, but I do take BCAAs. I also take pre-workout. I also take my creatine. And I also, okay, you're supplementing. The steroid is just like a different type of supplement. And it's the way I see it. But I don't condone cheating. I think if you compete in a sport that you need to be clean, you should be clean. But on a personal level, be like, I would like to see how far I could go if I
agree.
What if, what would it be like, to do that? Do I need to do that? Am I invested in doing that right now? No.
Yeah.
But if I'm someone like Joe Rogan that is not a competitor, he's a UFC commentator. He also does this podcast that is pretty popular recently, if you've heard about it.
Oh, it's a couple times.
So, yeah, he's doing okay for himself. What does he have to lose? Other than, like, if he's probably not going to, he's so health conscious, he's probably not going to put anything, like we just talked about.
Yeah.
So, what's the deal with trying it out?
Yeah,
I don't think there's anything wrong with that.
That was a great point. He has nothing to lose. Nobody... everyone kind of compliments him on his martial arts and weightlifting and stuff, and that's what he's known for. But, on his podcast, if he does say something very controversial, he's just expressing his opinion, that's what he more gets roped into. He's like, and, like with Spotify pulling, I don't want to make this whole last section part of this podcast about Joe Rogan, but, they pulled off episodes of him talking, conspiracy theories or, talking about transgender people.
Censoring his shit.
Yeah,
right?
exactly. It's like, oh, no, you can't talk about that. But that's more of what he gets roped into. Well, Joe Rogan said this about whatever. There was recently he did something. And there was some girl who has an OnlyFans, and Jamie, the guy that produces the show, I guess, or whatever. He pulled a picture up of her, and I forgot her name. Man, I'll have to look it up now. But there was an article about it I read, and anyway, she's not the best looker, I guess, is what you could say.
Okay.
And Joe Rogan said, "Yeah, she can keep that." Or something like that. And she has an OnlyFans. Apparently she does pretty well.
Okay.
And then she called him out, like, well, you don't like me and blah, blah, blah. And I don't forget what she said, but she called him out for saying whatever he said.
All right.
Yeah, so. And that's what it's more of what he's going to get called out. Yeah, exactly. It's just, okay, he said he didn't like it. Okay, cool.
That's
move
his
on.
opinion.
Yeah, move on, lady. But I guess she decided to make a video.
Right.
And
maybe she gets some clout that way. Now she gets out there.
And now,
that's probably what it is. Right?
With Joe Rogan and her now, she's going to get more views.
Yeah. I don't know. So, yeah, it's illegal to have an opinion about anything, apparently, right? Because you're going to have Spotify pull your shit or pull, I don't know. I haven't been on Spotify recently. Like they haven't taken my podcast down or anything. I'm just kidding. I don't have a podcast. But, you know, this is the same thing. I agree. I totally agree. It's pretty ridiculous. But,
yeah, it's this world we live in now.
yeah.
Because it's so easy.
Very thin skin, you know.
It's very
his
thin
opinion.
skin.
He's allowed to have an opinion.
I mean, that's what the Constitution says, right?
Oh, what's the old saying? Like, you know.
Everyone's got an opinion.
Yeah,
It's
and
like
sometimes
an asshole.
they're like assholes. Like everyone's got one. And a lot of times they stink. You know, so but there's nothing wrong with that. But that was a jump from steroids, right? Is that? I'm just trying to remember. I was like, wait.
Yeah, we were talking about steroids
okay,
and we got into
that's
Joe Rogan, and then I
okay.
was talking about how people wouldn't call him out on the steroids.
Oh, okay.
use.
Called him out on steroids.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Sorry, no, I had total brain fart when I was thinking
It's all
about
good.
trying to make a stupid joke about opinions and assholes.
No, it's a good one, man. But I think Sarah's cooking in there. Should we take this home?
Yeah, getting ready to eat dinner and then Mortal Kombat.
Mortal Kombat. Yeah, so eating sloppy joes. We're gonna watch Mortal Kombat tonight, and so far reviews have been
A-okay with me.
yeah, and that's just not from the press, but from actual people who've watched it. I know.
Yeah, real people. We've seen them.
We've talked to them.
Talked to them, yeah.
In person, not through social media. So that's our Saturday night, and maybe a few more ranch riders here.
Hell yeah.
And let's just see where that life takes us. But,
Word.
Thanks for being here, dude.
Yeah, well,
for doing
thanks.
this.
As always, thanks for having me on. Pleasure.
All right. Well, that's all we got, folks. So, wish us luck on a Mortal Kombat and Sloppy Joes, I guess. We'll maybe let y'all know later how's it go.
Part
Right?
two. To be continued. No, just kidding.
Bye, folks.
Bye.